Unfolded, episode 3 of season 2. I'm your host, Eric. My main man right there, Ron. How are you tonight?
I'm doing okay.
All right, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. So, as usual, ton to go over. So, we're going to start off right with our leadoff story. And our leadoff story is more of just the discussion of the NFL playoffs. So, the divisional matchups are this weekend. Cincinnati Bengals at Tennessee Titans, the San Francisco 49ers at the Green Bay Packers, the Los Angeles Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs. So we'll start off. We'll talk about all 4 games, kind of where we're at, what we think, what we're looking at. We will make our predictions at the end of the show. Let's start off with the Bengals at the Titans.
This to me. This is a toss-up. First of all, I think Cincinnati plays better on the road. So I think that
Bengals are 5-3 on the road this season.
Oh well, I stand corrected.
Tennessee was 7-2 at home.
Yeah, well, I mean, like Tennessee on paper looks like the team, that should win the game. But there's still something inside of me that's like I do not trust Tannehill to be able to beat the Bengals. To be honest,
a lot of people are sleeping on the Titans. The fact Derrick Henry has been cleared and it will return for the game, so that's pretty big for
Right.
Obviously the Tennessee Titans in the running game.
Right.
Hendrickson for the Bengals has been cleared. He should play as well, so their top pass rusher should be back and able to perform. I started looking at the numbers, and when I started looking at the numbers, I didn't realize. So the Bengals all season have had 72 penalties, Tennessee 103. So you talk about from a discipline standpoint. If the Bengals can keep this game close, obviously they perform better under pressure when it comes to penalties. That could be a major impact. Tennessee as well is 25th against the pass defensively, whereas Cincinnati's 7th overall passing offensively. So if Cincinnati, which we know has an extremely potent passing offense, if they cause this game to go into a high scoring affair, to me that hurts the Titans. The Titans want to control the ball by running it, keeping the score low, controlling the clock. It's really going to make a difference of which team can actually have their impact on the game that they're trying to perform.
Yeah, it comes down to basically who's going to get their game established. And Tennessee obviously wants to run the ball. That's the obvious.
Yeah, without
thing.
a doubt.
But
5th overall rushing offensively. So again, one of the top 5 teams in the league rushing the ball.
Right, and it probably
Derrick
would have been
missing.
higher if.
And you think
Henry
about
wasn't
Derrick Henry, didn't get hurt. So, and again, Tennessee 24th passing, not very good passing, but you've also got to look. Cincinnati's 26th overall against the pass. So they're not good defensively against the pass. It really is going to matter. Again, which team can implement their game plan to perfection, and then can Tennessee not hurt themselves by having unforced penalties?
To throw the ball.
Right?
And this is where I lean towards Cincinnati, because if Cincinnati just uses their high-powered offense with the passing game, and they put up numbers, that's going to force Tennessee to have to throw the ball.
Yeah.
And I don't like their chances. I really don't. And I think Cincinnati can come up with a turnover or two with Tannehill having to throw the ball if that comes down to it. And I just think Cincinnati can put up the points.
It should be a fun game. It should be a very fun game. Let's look at the 49ers at the Packers. This is a tough game to pick because, again, if you start looking at San Francisco 6-3 on the road, the Packers were 8-0 at home. They didn't lose at home this season.
No.
But Green Bay's also performed poorly in the playoffs. The last, I believe, 5 years or 6 years, they've lost 6 home games.
And Aaron Rodgers has not beaten San Francisco.
No,
Isn't
so
he
again,
0-3?
And then I looked at the numbers again. San Francisco needs to control the turnover factor. They've had 24 turnovers this season versus Green Bay's 13. Green Bay will not turn the ball over. San Francisco needs to make sure they don't make costly turnovers that end up giving Green Bay more opportunities on offense. We know what Green Bay can do offensively. 8th overall passing, 18th rushing, but 10th in the league. So Green Bay wants the ball in their hands because they know they can put points on the board.
And the big name that everybody's going to be looking to is Bosa.
Yeah, which
is Bosa going to be able to get in?
They said he's cleared to play, which is good. That's a good sign for the San Francisco 49ers.
It is.
They need him on that defensive side of the ball. Garoppolo should play as well. Now a separated shoulder along with the thumb. That scares me because, again, now, San Fran wants to try to run the ball, keep the ball, play action. Right. If you're going to force Jimmy G to try to win the game for you, especially with the injuries, I don't think look, Jimmy G's a good quarterback.
Right.
He can get things done. But I also wouldn't want to put the game in his hands or on his shoulders.
No, he's one of those guys. And I'll compare it to Trent Dilfer when he won a Super Bowl. As long as you don't make mistakes, you're not hurting the team. So if he's just, doing a pass here and there, and moving the ball and doesn't turn it over, doesn't, fumble or any of that, if he just maintains the game, he can win. Yeah. But the moment that you have to put it in his hands, that's where some trouble can happen. And against Green Bay, that's a tall task.
Randall Cobb comes back for the Packers. One of his favorite targets, obviously, when they brought him back.
Yeah.
So a lot of players are coming back. Question mark would be, does Green Bay, again, fail at home? They seem to struggle at home. This is a team that San Francisco, we all know very well, that can end up turning it on and being spectacular.
They're a solid defense.
So this is a good team. This is a great matchup. To me, Aaron Rodgers' legacy holds a lot of weight based off of this year's playoffs. This is his first test. I think there's more pressure on Aaron Rodgers to win than there is, obviously, San Francisco.
Oh, absolutely. They're already, in gravy, because they took out Dallas. And so now anything that happens in their favor is great because people aren't expecting them to get very far. Most people weren't expecting them to beat Dallas. And I know there was a lot of people that at the last minute jumped on the San Francisco bandwagon, but most of the people out there thought Dallas would win that game because of the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it turned out it was completely different. And the thing I like about this weekend, all those home teams, they're not safe. All of them.
No, agree. Yeah, none of them are.
We're going to see some great football this weekend.
Yeah, we should. We definitely should. So that brings us to the other NFC matchup, and that's the Rams-Bucks matchup. Yeah. Obviously, a ton of concerns right now for Tampa Bay with the offensive line and the importance of them being healthy. Right now, it doesn't look like they may have two of their starters.
Right.
And in the last 2 years, they've had actually the most collective snaps together.
Right.
So not having two key pieces on the offensive line with Aaron Donald, Von Miller, you think about what that defense can do. You saw what they did against Arizona, bringing the pressure.
Absolutely.
Tom Brady has to figure out how he's going to be able to look. Tom gets rid of the ball quicker than almost any quarterback in the league. But you have to.
It's actually he was the top.
Right. So you've got to look at the fact that how can they make sure that they're able to because we know Arians likes to throw deep and have those shots. I don't know if that's going to be available in this game.
Yeah.
Can they dink and dunk their way to a victory?
Well, I think they're going to use the running game a lot.
Fournette's back. now. They said Fournette is back.
I know. They're very capable of running the ball.
Yeah,
very capable.
26th overall in the league though this year, so they haven't been effective running the ball offensively. So
right, but it's because Tom Brady is back there, and they throw the ball because look at the
first in the
weapons you
league.
had.
So they're the number one passing team in the league.
Right.
Number one passing team in the league.
So,
this is where I'm starting to wonder, though. Is it all about Tom Brady, or is it more about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense? So the Bucs
they got to come up big.
21st overall against the pass. Los Angeles was 5th passing the ball this year. We know the capability is passing the ball. Cooper Kupp, OBJ, Jefferson, they have a lot of weapons on that side of the ball, and obviously they like to sling it.
Right.
Can the Buccaneers defense step up? I'm not as worried about the offense with Tampa Bay. I'm more concerned with, can the defense actually contain the Rams enough so that it's not turning into this 40 plus, each team has to score.
Exactly. And like you said, you're not worried about the offense. And I got to say, the key player in this game, I think, is Gronkowski.
Gronk could be very
because he's going to have to get those shorter passes to somebody, and it's got to be a big guy.
Yeah.
Because he needs to have that length, both height and to the right, to the left. You have to have that length so that way he can throw the ball. Tom Brady can place the ball where he wants.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady is going to look for those quick passes because he's going to have to get it out like 2.1 seconds.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to. That's what he can do. So 2.1 seconds, Gronk needs to be ready, and a lot is going to fall on Gronk's shoulders because of the fact of that defensive line that the Rams have, and so there's that. And on the defensive side of the ball, if they can't contain the receivers for the Rams, they're going to be in for a long game.
So the
Bucks, it's insane.
Yeah, Bucks were 7-1 at home. LA was 7-2 on the road. So there's not even really much of a difference in the matchup when it comes to home to road. Again, being outside versus indoors for the Rams may slow them down a little bit when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. But this game is very hard to call.
And I'll tell you, there is another key factor in all of this. When you look at the quarterbacks, when push comes to shove, who do you trust more?
Obviously, we trust Tom more.
Right.
But the thing is, again, we all know Tom Brady struggles when pressure's in his face.
Oh, I know that.
We've seen it in the Super Bowl against the Giants. We've seen it when he had to travel to Denver with the New England Patriots one year, where they just couldn't seem to protect him enough.
They have 3 good tight ends. They're going to use tight ends to block.
Yep, they're going to have to. They're going to have to make sure that they
roll
that part of the ball, the pass rush of the Rams, or this could be a long game. It's going to be a fun game.
And that's why I say Gronk is going to be a big part of this because he's going to block, take a couple of steps, turn around, try to get that pass, and then yards after the catch, hopefully. That's what they're going to look to.
Yeah. So the last game, and again, when we talk about all 3 of the games, and they're very tough to call, the Bills-Chiefs game, to me, is probably the hardest game to decide who's going to win this game. Because when you start to look at it, Buffalo has the number 1 defense overall in the league. We know they can shut down.
You can't discount that.
Right? We know they can shut down. But the Chiefs have slowly turned that offense into something that it isn't about just one big play at a time. It's about they've learned to dunk and keep it short so that Mahomes isn't, creating turnovers. But both of these teams, if you look at it offensively, Buffalo 5th overall offensively, Kansas City 3rd offensively. Defensively, the number 1 defense, Kansas City 27th.
And this is the key factor right here. Okay, so look, if Buffalo has that great defense, okay, they're gonna eventually shut them down. At least a few plays.
Make a couple stops, yeah.
Can Kansas City stop them at all? Because I'll tell you, if you get into a gunslinging contest,
I think Buffalo wins it.
I think Buffalo has the advantage
Look,
because
and then
Kansas City hasn't been effective downfield this year.
Yeah, and if you look at it, they're 27th versus the pass, 21st versus the rush. So it's not even like you say one side they're at least stronger. We know Josh Allen with his legs can do it. We know he can do it with his arm.
Yeah.
We know they have the receivers with Diggs and Gabriel, to honestly create some havoc, in the passing game. I think Kansas City's in trouble. The only plus for this is Buffalo's 5-3 on the road this year versus 7-2 for Kansas City. Kansas City's played pretty well at home, and Buffalo has not looked as good on the road. So if there's one thing that could help Kansas City is the fact that it's in Kansas City, and Arrowhead is extremely tough to play in.
Right.
Those fans are loud and can create some havoc. But again, all 4 of these games we will predict at the end of the show. So let's look at we'll move on to the NFL, and we're going to talk about one of your favorite coaches. I know you love this guy. And
why do you do that? Why do you do that?
Because I know you love him. So we're going to bring him up on the screen.
How do I love him?
We know you love it, and I wanted to make sure I got this shot for it. And that is Bruce Arians, the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
It makes me want to smack you.
You want to strike me like he struck safety Andrew Adams during the wild card game against the Eagles this past weekend. The league has fined him $50,000. Do you think that was a fair assessment for what he did, or do you feel like the league could have?
Well, I look at it this way. Dak Prescott got fined $25,000,
which we will discuss afterwards. Yes.
Like, is it only twice as bad as that?
So I looked at it in one aspect, and maybe it's me, and I'm trying to think about how it would have been if the player had hit the coach. And to me, I think that's where the disparity is, that the league would allow a coach to hit a player, regardless of the situation. Arians was trying to tell him, like, you're going to get a penalty, cut it out, and however he wants to try to spin it. But if a player had hit a coach, to me, it's more than a fine. It's suspensions. You know what I mean? It's probably multiple suspensions. So what allows a coach to hit a player?
Nothing. It shouldn't be done.
And I look.
And frankly, if I was the player, I'd probably turn around and punch him in the face.
And to Adam's credit, he walked away from it. But we talked about the Antonio Brown situation a couple weeks ago, and what Bruce Arians possibly said to, or did to Antonio Brown. And again, Antonio Brown's no saint, and we've discussed that.
Right.
But Bruce Arians, to me, is starting to seem like he's just a little bit off kilter. There's some things he does, to me, that is borderline. When it comes to how he treats his players, what he says.
I'm not even sure it's borderline, Eric. I think it's going over the line.
Yeah, to me, the league should have suspended him for at least one game. At least.
Yeah.
And I to me, don't condone anybody striking anyone. So if this was a player, to me, a player probably would have been suspended for 6 to 8 games for hitting a coach.
Right.
But yet a coach gets $50,000 fine, which again we know the team's going to pick up. So to me, is that really a penalty?
No, it's not. That's the problem.
Dan chimed in, leave Antonio alone, and now Bruce. We're just calling the facts as we see them.
That's
Antonio
right.
Brown, we thought was probably the issue, and it might not have been. It might have been a lot of what Bruce Arians does and continues to do.
Yeah,
so
I mean, first of all, we don't even know, what the collective bargaining agreement is on, telling a player to leave.
Yeah.
So, like, is that crossing the line? Yeah, okay, so you can just bench him, but you can't just, like, tell him to leave.
Yeah. Get the F
can
off
you
the
do
field.
that?
Get the F out of here. Yeah. I don't know. Let's talk about that other suspension. So you brought it up. Dak Prescott was fined. Did I say suspension? I'm sorry. Fine. Yeah. The other fine, $25,000 for Dak Prescott making some comments about the fans and how he agreed with them throwing trash at the referees. He has since apologized for that. but the league still decided to suspend him. Do you A, accept the apology, and then B, overall think that the fine was acceptable for what Dak Prescott said or did?
First of all, I don't even know if I accept the apology because you did the damage. You did the damage, and then you have all those fans throwing things. And let me tell you, I saw some video where it was actually hitting their own players with no refs around.
I think they were honestly throwing it at both the refs and the players.
Right, and that's
I don't
what I'm
think
saying.
it was just targeted the refs. What I would say is this, and I'm not, listen, we've all been around with the Malice in the Palace. We're all old enough to remember that and what happened. And that started with a fan basically throwing a bear at Ron Artest. And then Ron Artest going into the stands, and we all know what happened from there.
Right.
But what I would say is this. When a player comes out and basically tells the fans to create some sort of situation and agrees with it, we know how fans are in the sports world and how they end up. Honestly, there's certain fans out there that just can't distinguish themselves from reality. And you're telling fans to basically attempt to hurt players or hurt referees, and that's to me was unacceptable.
Well, the whole fact is, he's wrong.
Faceless,
he was clearly wrong. He doesn't know the rules.
He stunk in the game, right? He caused them to lose, and I have yet to hear him apologize for the way he played.
Right.
How about that? How about apologizing for your errors and the things you didn't do correctly?
And the coach is just as bad because he didn't know the rules either.
Mike McCarthy needs to get fired, but that's another story for another day.
It's just showing that Dallas is a joke.
So would you have suspended Dak Prescott if you were the commissioner? Or do you feel the fine was acceptable?
No, I think a fine was right. Maybe not 25,000, but
it's going to throw a 6-pack at us for our comments. We would definitely take a 6-pack at this point.
I would too. Yeah.
Depends on what it is, but
if you're gonna throw a 6-pack, it has to be a good beer, maybe some Yingling or some Sam Adams.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't want a 6-pack of like Bud Light.
No. I mean, if you want to just throw a bottle of Captain Morgan at me, I'd be okay with that as well.
Well, yeah, that would be good too. So if you're Yingling or Sam Adams or Jack or something like that, if you want to sponsor us, just get to us, and here's the email for it. Because we do
Dead
like
to Rights to take the captain.
Like
Dead to Rights would take captain. Thanks for joining Dead to Rights. We got some captains out there. There's a captain in all of us.
There is.
There's a captain in all of us. So let's move on to our triple play. You guys get Narragansett. Come on, Dan.
Oh, come on. No. Get out of here with that.
Dan. Narragansett. So let's look at our triple play. And so how we figured out this triple play. And this is a very difficult one. And I'm glad you're first this week. Because I don't know if how I even came up with mine. And I'm hoping yours makes more sense.
All right. So
the top. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So the top three receiving yards so far in the playoffs are these three individuals, and that would be Mike Evans, Jamar Chase, and Travis Kelce. So we have to figure out who we're going to start, who we're going to bench, and who we're going to cut out of these three individuals.
Okay, so at first, I need to know if we're just talking about this playoff season.
I did it for the year.
Or career.
I did it for the year. I did it for this year.
Okay. Okay, so with that being said, I go with Kelce. I start Kelce, and this is why.
Okay,
because out of the 8 teams that are left, there are only 2 tight ends that stand out, and that's Kelce and Gronk that really stand out. That gives you an automatic advantage for matchups. Automatic advantage. Not to mention the 9,000 plus yards that he's already accumulated in his career. Not bad. So I take Kelce as the starter because you already have an advantage with that. Here's where it gets really difficult because you got Mike Evans and Jamar Chase. I would lean. Oh God, this is so hard. I'm guessing I would probably lean towards Evans because of the experience factor, and he's won a championship already. He's not going to have those rookie mistakes. Not that Chase is having those rookie mistakes either, but I got to go with what I know in his career and playoff time. So I got to go Mike Evans. So therefore, I cut Chase. And I know Chase with those 81 receptions and
1,400 yards.
1,455 golden yards.
Mm-hmm. 13 touchdowns.
13 touchdowns. I mean, I know, but this is playoff time, and I got to go with the known commodity.
All right. So Dan said, never mind. He wants to bench run. So I start a little different. I am starting Jamar Chase. Again, those 81 receptions, 1,455 yards, and 13 touchdowns. The element he brings to the deep game and just the way he can change the whole complexity of how you pass the ball. But I benched Travis Kelce, and I kept Kelce 92 receptions this year, 1,125 yards, 9 touchdowns. But I also like the fact that you can use him in the running game.
Right.
You saw him throw the pass, right? So the trick plays. Kelce gives you a lot more options, which means I cut Mike Evans. 74 receptions, 1,035 yards, 14 touchdowns. So out of all of them, the most touchdowns. But I also feel like he hasn't been as healthy in the last couple of years as these other two. Like obviously Jamar Chase is a rookie, but Travis Kelce as well. Mike Evans has missed some time, and I don't know if he's always going to be available for me. So that's why I cut Mike Evans.
That's makes sense, but you know,
You earned a narrow answer with that comment.
But
Dan is on you today, Ron.
I don't care. It just shows his lack of knowledge of football.
Woo! Now we're attacking the fans. Dead to Rights thought we were on Halo. This is not Halo Infinite. This is Sports Unfolded. But we have great sports talk. Continue to watch that. Don't jump off on us. Let's move on to some NBA. And I know how excited you were when you saw this come through the news wire. And the Boston Celtics have begun to make some trades. So the team they're making moves, man. They're sending Juancho Hernandez Gomez to the Spurs in a 3-team deal. I mean, this should make the Boston Celtics a contender now in the East. They have acquired Bol and PJ Dozier in what is considered a salary cap move.
So is Bol his first name is Bol and his last name is Bol?
They're both Bol. Bol is his name. So it's very hard to not get it right. His name's Bol. The team's going to save $4.3 million towards the cap.
Ooh.
How excited are you about these moves and what the Boston Celtics have brought to the table?
Okay, so Brad Stevens.
Here we go. This snowball's going to be massive.
Before this trade, said he identified what the Celtics needed. Apparently, like I said the other day, that he identified that he needs to go already.
What if he identified as they needed to pick up guys that are literally never going to play for the team?
Look, like he's making a mockery out of the Celtics already. Like hasn't even been there a full year, and it's already a joke. The team is a joke. When you get offered, Ben Simmons for Brown and some other pieces going, both directions, and then you say, no, we're keeping Brown and Tatum together. It hasn't worked for this many years already. What do you not understand about running the Celtics? I don't get it. And then you pull off this trade to save $3 million? Really? $3 million? What is that going to do?
4.3.
Oh, 4.
What I would say is this. I honestly, when I heard the move, at first I was like, oh, okay, a couple role players, but then I realized they weren't going to play for the team. if you are a Boston Celtic fan, and Ron, I agree with you. I'm tired of hearing about this. You cannot move Tatum or Brown, and that's been discussed already. That it's already been put out there that the only guys they won't talk about in trades are Tatum, Brown, and Williams. And I'm looking at this and saying, okay, well, Williams is an undersized center who has potential, but honestly isn't a star. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, this experiment, we've talked about this at a numerous amounts of times now. They're not the two that are going to get the job done. And yet somehow these are the two guys you're not going to get rid of. Okay, so all you're telling your Boston Celtic fans is this. We're going to keep acquiring players that are going to help us reduce our cap so the team saves money, but we're going to put a product on the court that obviously can't win a championship. That's what you've told the fans now.
Yeah.
And if any fan, and if I hear another Boston Celtic fan tell me about how I'm crazy for wanting to trade Tatum or Brown, I don't think you really want another championship. You don't want another banner in Boston. All you want to do is be complacent with two guys that are going to average 25 plus points a game, but never win anything for the Boston Celtics and this city.
Right. And we identified this last year.
Yeah, and all he's
and then
doing
they made the
move.
change, and it's the same results.
We can blame
what we talked about.
Yeah, you can blame Danny Ainge for making bad moves and having contracts, and now you're trying to get out from under that. But do you honestly feel like Brad Stevens is going to bring in a player to help the Boston Celtics next year if they have money for it? I don't trust any confidence that he understands what this team needs to do. He's going to bring in a player, again, like a Kemba Walker or an attempted Kyrie Irving or one of these guys that we've already seen them try to do in the past, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
When are they going to do something different?
Okay, so what is the job requirements of becoming a Boston GM? No really experience whatsoever?
Obviously, the owners want to save money. Save money. It has nothing to do with the product you're putting on the court. I truly believe that at this point. You cannot be satisfied with a 500 team and tell me that all of a sudden we're just going to sit there and be okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing every year, every single year now.
Like I'm at the point now where basically there's no point in the season.
Oh, this is another waste of the season. They'll make the playoffs as one of the top 10 teams, just because the East is accessible for them to possibly at least get in. But after that, if you look at it, what's going to happen?
Yeah,
another playoff loss, another one and done. Whoop-de-doo. Next year, we're going to try to pick up a third guy again.
Absolutely.
17,
and it's not going to happen because they don't want to get the right player. Like their answer to everything was getting Schroeder.
Yeah, Schroeder's been phenomenal for it. Yeah, everything's great. That team stinks. But let's talk about another team. And if we could try to bring him up, I don't know if you're having some technical difficulties. You're a little frozen on my end.
Oh, that's not good.
There he is. But that is Russell Westbrook and the Los Angeles Lakers. And so here's another team. When we talk about the lore of the NBA and some of these great teams, the Boston Celtics, the Los Angeles Lakers, and now we're seeing it again. The Lakers are struggling. And they've decided that they're going to bench Russell Westbrook in the fourth quarter if he's not helping them contribute to winning. Do you agree with that move? And do you think this is going to ultimately work out for the Lakers?
All right, so wait a minute. Let's back up first. When they had that 3-game losing streak and then they won a game and all the headlines were they're back on track. Did they win the next game?
Gotta love them. They did not.
Right. So back on track? Back on track for what? Like the Lakers just I don't even know what to like what Westbrook is doing right now is my exact thoughts. Like, what are we doing? Look, this is clearly like when we talk about the Lakers because of LeBron. Look, we all know LeBron is making these teams. Everywhere he goes, he's creating the team. He's like, he wants this player, this player, this player. That's what's happening. Okay, well, guess what? LeBron is not the GM, and he is just as bad as Brad Stevens, to be honest with you. He doesn't know how to put together a team. You know, it all revolves around him, and I don't understand. You know what the point of having faith in this team. Like
Yeah, I
they're
think.
not going anywhere.
But ultimately, we talked about it again several times about the age and where they're at. And I just think that they expected to be able to turn it on at any given point, and I don't think they can. I don't
No.
think Russell Westbrook is a good fit for this team. He wants the ball in his hand. So does LeBron. So does Carmelo Anthony. Anthony's been notorious for not wanting to pass the ball and taking shots. LeBron James wants to control the ball. Now you got Westbrook who wants to control the ball. So to me, I think it's finally coming all to fruition where it just wasn't going to work. The problem is they can't get out from under these contracts. So they're kind of stuck with what they have. Do you think so? I think they're 8th overall in the West, though. When you look at it, realistically, they could still win a championship if the pieces can figure out how to play together.
They're not going to win a championship. They're not going to win. Like, you can't just turn it on and expect, great results. We've already seen several times this year where they say, "Oh, we turned the corner. We're rolling now." Well, then you go into another losing streak, and then what's your excuse? It's the same thing we hear over and over from this team. It's like, "Oh, we're turning the corner. Oh, we're back on track." No, you're not. It's just not happening. Look, the other teams have caught up. They've passed. There's so many players now that are beyond the LeBron James thing now.
Yeah. No. Ultimately, I think you got to start to look at he's aged. He's played a lot of basketball, LeBron. Do I still think he's one of the top 10? I would give him he would be in the top 10 in the league. But
Yes.
I would also say he's not good enough to carry a team anymore.
No,
and if these
I
other
don't
guys
think he
aren't
was
gonna,
ever really able to carry a team. Look, like, it's like, okay, great players make others better, okay? Everywhere that LeBron has gone, he doesn't make anybody better. Look, when he got Kevin Lowe on his team, he made him worse. He was worse. Kevin Love was one of the best players, shooting and scoring wise in the league at the time. And then he just decimated him. Like, he was nothing. And it's because it's the me factor. Like, LeBron James has to have everything go through him. And it's a team game. You have to pass the ball. And I don't mean those token passes so he gets his 6-7 assists in the game. I'm talking about legitimate passes at the right times, and not at the time where you need a clutch shot. Oh, I don't want to take it, so let's pass it.
yeah,
That's look. I don't respect LeBron James's game. I know he's one of the best players of all time. I know that.
He is.
I know that.
He is.
But his team game sucks.
But I also
really
think you got to
does.
listen. The eras keep continuing to change, and because of social media and how things are portrayed now, I also think that he gets, more scrutiny than he probably would if this was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But I also agree with you that I don't think that the teams he's trying to put together, again, Carmelo Anthony and Russell Westbrook, if it was 5 to 7 years ago, this team would be unstoppable.
Right.
Today's game, and again, with an Anthony Davis, who's your best player, who cannot stay on the court due to injury, you can't expect to win if you can't have your top guy on there. LeBron James is not the number one guy on this team anymore. It's Anthony Davis. And if Anthony Davis can't perform, then what you're seeing is Russell Westbrook trying to do more than he should have to do because he's not that player either on this team.
Yeah. Look, what it comes down to, Eric, is that these teams, they need to stop letting LeBron James dictate who they put on the team.
Yeah.
That's what they need to do. Yeah, because LeBron James, I would never want him as a GM.
Yeah, no,
never.
He is running the Red Sox, so be ready. So let's look at the NHL. If you want to bring up that hit, the Boston Bruins defeated the Washington Capitals last night, but suffered a apparent injury to Brad Marchand in that win. Garnett Hathaway checked Marchand into the boards from behind. I will ask you this. First, do you think it was a legal hit?
No.
And then B, if Marchand is out for several games or weeks, how much of an impact will it have on the Boston Bruins?
Okay, so if it's a couple of games, it'll hurt, in the short run, because they do have a tough schedule right now. They're in the middle of 5 games with teams with winning records. So it's going to be tough. But if it's long-term, it would be devastating. And then you almost have to guarantee the Bruins will have to make some trades short-term. Now, given this, DeBrusk last night scored a goal and an assist in his spot. When you're playing with Bergeron, good things are going to happen, right? And hopefully, look, it'll bring up the stock for DeBrusk, and they'll get more in a trade for DeBrusk. And with a lot of things happening, and I'll go more into a potential trade after we talk about the next guy.
Okay.
But they're going to be able to pull a trigger and get some help. But, long term, without Marchand, you're losing one of the best players in the league. It's simple as that.
So, look, we saw them underperform the other night against Carolina. Right.
Underperform. They didn't perform.
Right. And then you see them against teams that they should be able to win. And Dan's like, don't trade DeBrusk. I think that's a great call, right? At this point,
I don't think I wouldn't want to.
I don't think they can pull it off because I think they're going to need him. And I think they realize.
I'm hoping he changes his mind. I really do hope he changes his mind because I think DeBrusk is a really good player. And this is part of what I get on Cassidy for because he is a young player. He's only been around, 3 years, 4 years. And, and it's like he's always in the doghouse. But if you don't put him with talent, how can he get the goals? Look, he's played with a lot of center icemen that are fourth liners. They're not going to be able to get him the puck and let him do what he wants to do. You got to put him in a position to succeed. And being with Coyle, it has helped. Now going with Bergeron, that is tremendous, and I would welcome when Marchand is back, having Marchand on the left and put DeBrusk on the right. I would like that. But then what do you do with Craig Smith? So.
Yeah.
It's somebody's got to be with Coyle, and that can get some points.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Look, that Boston Bruins can't afford to have any injuries right now, especially long term. I was just more curious about the hit too. Did you say you thought it was a clean hit?
No, it was not a clean hit. It was not a clean hit. So, I just think it should have been a penalty. It wasn't egregious, but it was a penalty. He went head first into the boards, and when you hit him from behind, that's what happens.
So let's talk about be possibly coming back. Now the Edmonton Oilers, I guess, is a rumor that he has agreed to a deal for like 1.5 million. Do you think this changes the landscape of the NHL with Evander Kane on the Edmonton Oilers?
No, it doesn't change anything. It just takes it takes a player away from a veteran team that could use his skill. Now, I don't know if this is going to be what Edmonton needs. They already have enough problems, without being able to outscore anybody right now. And this is what happens if you can contain, McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yep.
You just shadow them and try to contain them with your best centers. And if you can do that, you shut down Edmonton. It's clearly that simple.
So do you feel Kane doesn't give him that third option now as a scorer?
Yeah, of course it gives him an option, but look, if you can't keep the puck out of your own net, what good is it?
Yeah.
They need to go out and get a defenseman. That is not what they needed. They had scoring. You needed a defenseman, a top 4 defenseman that could be shut down. They have to play better in front of their own net. If a team comes in and knows how to forecheck, like the Rangers, Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay, Boston, Calgary, the list goes on, Colorado, you're going to struggle. And they're even losing to Seattle, Ottawa.
Teams
they can't stop anybody.
Are better than. Yeah, no, I got you defensively. So again, to me, I also question the character of the individual, and he's still under investigation now because I guess he traveled while he tested positive for COVID-19 in cross country.
So more problems.
So again, he continues to bring. There's a lot of baggage that comes with this player, and how much of that affects this team. How strong is McDavid as a leader to control it? And if he can't control him, then this could go really bad for the Edmonton Oilers. We'll have to see how it all turns out. He's eligible to come back, I believe, on Tuesday if he clears the investigation piece.
Here's why I was saying we'll talk about a potential trade. Because of Edmonton signing him, there was talk that Jake DeBrusk was going to go to Edmonton because Louis DeBrusk has a lot of ties with the Edmonton Oilers. That's his dad. Now, with Evander Kane there, that takes that off the board. So that is no longer an option for the Bruins really to trade him there. Now, what it does set up with San Jose, who now needs a left winger, and Hurdle is on the trading block, and now there's speculation that DeBrusk and somebody will be packaged to get Hurdle, and that would give a second-line center for the Boston Bruins, and that is very noteworthy because it would be a perfect fit for both teams. So it's just a matter of who goes with DeBrusk.
Gotcha. So if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out. We're live every Friday night at 6 p.m. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter. We're live. We're fan interactive. If you chime in, we will definitely respond. We've been having a great time with Dan today, who's joined us live. You can follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok on TSmooth73 as well. So opportunities there to see some of the TikToks. Podcasts, Amazon, Anchor, Google, and Spotify. If you don't have time to watch, listen to us. And if you're in Southeast Connecticut, SECTV, Public Access, Channel 12 on Comcast. You can watch us every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. It's a rerun of this show on Friday. And then obviously chime in on Friday nights. So, Ron, you were moving there for a second. It was nice to see. But let's go
Yeah,
on to
well, I'm not the issue. Actually, you have one red bar,
it's showing 4 on my end. Okay.
and you're the one that is frozen on the live feed, I believe.
I don't know. It's showing 4 on my end. I don't know. So the face-off is, should the NBA find teams who only make trades for salary cap reasons? So it doesn't improve the team, or it isn't an attempt to improve the team or get players. It's more about salary cap. Are you for that or against that?
Well, seeming Dan has had a lot to say today. Let's see who he thinks should be for. Dan. Lieutenant Dan. You guys are therapy. Okay, so with therapy, but get to who is for fines
for teams that only make trades for salary cap reasons. He's been on Ron today. He loves Ron. Loves him some Ron today.
Okay, so
you pick it. You pick it, Ron. You go first.
Okay, so I will be. Oh God, I will be against fines.
So no fines. So I am for them finding teams for it. Okay, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Okay, so first of all, there is a fine line on what you can prove.
I can't. I'm glad you're not moving right now.
A cap cutting move. You just can't dictate what the reasons for the trades. And look, hey, if you're trying to cut your cap down, I don't think it's a big deal. I think it sucks for the team fans. You know, the fans, again, are the only ones that lose in every situation.
I'm glad you said that. So this is where I'm heading with it. They've been times now where players are just resting because being benched for rest.
Right.
And fans are paying for this. And now legitimately are allowing teams to make decisions that honestly have no bearing on the team whatsoever. If you know you're picking up a player that A is injured, B won't play for the entire season, but it's only obvious because it's for cap, why not find that team even more to allow them?
I don't think it should be a fine. I think it should just not be allowed. I think the league should be able to nullify a trade that is for that reason. I don't think it should be a fine. I think it should just be nullified.
Yeah, I think that I understand what Dan's saying. Look, the team should have the right to make decisions that obviously they're still running a business. I get that. But at the same time, I don't understand how the league will allow teams to just say, well, we know this guy isn't going to play and we know why you're doing it. If there was a questionable injury where, hey, he could be back in a couple of weeks and then we're gonna explore how the player is, I get it. But you're picking up two guys that you will not see on the court, don't even know how they would perform with your team, and now basically know at the end of the year you're cutting.
Like, to be honest with you, and it should be in all leagues, every sport, if you are injured, I don't think you should be able to be traded. I don't think you should be able to be traded. It should take you off the board. Look, if you're not going to count towards the salary cap while you're injured, then why should it count, for you to be able to trade an injured player?
Yeah. No.
It should not be even allowed. It shouldn't be allowed. This
Boston Celtics trade is extremely upsetting to me, and that's the only reason why we did this face-off. But let's move on. Let's move on to the pick and roll, because it's just ridiculous what the NBA allows teams to do. The pick and roll. So it is our third episode of season 2. So we decided to go with famous number 3s in NBA history. And those 5 players are Allen Iverson, Dwayne Wade, Chris Paul, Tracy McGrady, and Ben Wallace. We got to rate them from 5 to 1. You are first this week. Ron, you go pick and roll.
All right. So number 5, I have Tracy McGrady, because I don't consider him eligible to be number 3. He only spent 2 years as a number 3.
Oh, I only had him as 1 year as a number 3. So, okay.
It was probably like 1.5.
Yeah.
Technically. So it doesn't matter what his numbers are. So he's number 5. So with that being said, the 4 players They're really good. At number 4, 18.2 points, 4.5 rebounds, 9.4 assists, and an actual true point guard. And I gotta say, you look at the All-Stars, 11 All-Stars, Rookie of the Year, 10 All-NBA, 9 All-Defensive Player for NBA, no championships. And I put him at number 4, and it's Chris Paul.
Wow. Okay.
Number 3, 26.7 points, 3.7
What
rebounds.
is going on right now? I don't know what
6.2 assists, 11 All-Stars, MVP,
is going on?
Rookie of the Year, 4 scoring titles, 7 All-NBA,
Yep.
all the accolades in the world. At number 3, Allen Iverson.
I am in shock right now. You have shocked me.
No championships.
Yeah.
Number 2, which you criticized me before the show for hating.
I did. That's why I said
5.7 points per game. Now, you look at that and you're like, why? Well, why is 9.6 rebounds? He's got 4 All-Star games, 5-time All-NBA, 6-time All-Defensive Player, 4 Defensive Player of the Year, 1 championship, Ben Wallace. The championship, that was the key. That's what put him ahead of Allen Iverson. And of course, number 1, Dwayne Wade, 22 points a game, 4.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 13 All-Stars, Rookie of the Year, 10 All-NBA, 9 All-Defense. 8 All-NBA, 1 scoring title. I was reading somebody else's. 3 championships, 3-time All-Defensive Player, Dwayne Wade, number 1. Those championships, that spoke volumes. And what he means to a team outside of those numbers is far and away, incredible.
No, listen, you're pretty wrong.
I am not wrong.
I'm
not wrong.
Your number 5 pick, I agree with you. Tracy McGrady, I had him at 1 year at number 3. I can't count him as a true number 3.
Right.
At 4, should have been Ben Wallace. So 5.7 points, the 9.6 assists. Defensively, what he did. But only 4 All-Stars, 5 All-NBAs, 1 championship, 2 rebounding championships. So the all-time, the total rebounds for the year. Chris Paul, number 3.
Nope, no championship.
11 All-Stars, 10 All-NBA, 9 All-Defensive Player of the Year. So how do you not put him at number 3? Allen Iverson has to be at 2. And again, the only knock on Allen Iverson is the championship. 11 All-Stars, 7 All-NBAs, 4 scoring titles. The man dominated.
Look, I'm taking a guy that has championships. That's
hence Dwayne Wade. You're right. It should be Dwayne Wade is your best number 3 overall in the NBA, in NBA history. 13 All-Stars, 8 All-NBAs, 3 NBA titles. So I would give it to Dwayne Wade as your number 1, but there's no way Allen Iverson is not number 2.
Yeah. I'll take Ben Wallace. Sorry.
It would make no sense to me. I can't.
I love Allen Iverson as a player, but if you're not going to win a championship, then what good are you?
These arguments for you sometimes. I don't get it. If you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night at 6 p.m. We are live. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can follow us on social media at Sports Unfolded on Facebook and Twitter, at Broadcasting RI on Twitter, Sports_Unfolded on Instagram. Don't have time to watch? Check us out on our podcast on Amazon, Anchor, Google, Spotify, through Rhode Island Broadcasting. If you're in Southeast Connecticut, SEC TV, Public Access, Channel 12. every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. We rerun this show, and then you enjoy what you see. Check us out Friday night, 6 p.m. And
Now,
if you'd
before
like
we
to
go,
sponsor the show,
oh yeah, go ahead.
sponsor the show, reach out to Rhode Island Broadcasting, email him. He'll give you all the details on what it would cost and what we would be able to do for you from a sponsor standpoint. And that's the email on there, rhodeislandbroadcasting.media@gmail.com. Check us out. We can sponsor your businesses, and we can definitely do some things for you. Ron, what were you going to say?
Okay, so Dan, I know you're out there. If you can tell me if either of us are frozen on your screen, that would help. Because I've been trying to figure out the technical difficulties. For all I know, we may not even be frozen at all for the people at home. So if you can tell us, it might just be us, because he's saying that I'm frozen and he has been frozen for me. So if you can, post that up there.
So we are going to. You guys are not frozen. Jeremy's joined us as well. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate that.
So
as long as it's good for you guys there, that's what matters.
That's perfect. And Jeremy jumped in just in time because I know Jeremy is a Tennessee Titans fan. So we are going on to our predictions, and we're going to bring up that chart right now and just show you where we stand so far for the year. So after 3 weeks, our predictions, we are tied. We are tied 15 wins, 6 losses. 71%. Kenny has chimed in. Kenny has given me his football picks for this week. So Kenny's numbers will change. He's given us all 4 games. But if you look at that, we are pretty good. 71%. 71%. I am pretty impressed overall with our prediction so far.
All right. So make sure you guys predict with us as we go along.
We'll throw
so that way you can get on this chart as well. Because I would love, 20, 30 more people on there. And I know at the end of the year, there'll be something for one of the fans. I know that will happen.
Spoken for, baby.
And me and Eric have
a little
our own personal bet on this. So the loser will have to wear attire of the other person's team of choice. Yes. So like he can make me wear a Montreal Canadian, a jersey and hat, and that would be devastating. So I do not plan on losing. And I will make him wear something as well.
Yeah, he still hasn't decided which team yet, but
yeah, I haven't decided because I know he really hates Miami. But I hate Miami too, so it wouldn't really be pleasing to me. But I know he loves the Yankees, and having Red Sox on him would look just perfect.
Oh yeah, I got the colors right now. Yeah. All right, let's go on. Perfect. Prediction time, my friend. So Saturday's games. First game: Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans.
Okay, so I have to win. So I can't just pick with my heart.
Yes.
Oh, these are so hard games. Oh God. There's going to be one upset. So I'm going to say it's going to be Cincinnati.
So you are picking the Bengals. I am going Tennessee, and I just think the return of Derrick Henry and the fact that they can control the ball.
I'm risking it right here.
They're going to keep the offense, Cincinnati's offense, off the field.
Who did Kenny pick?
Kenny picked the Titans. He picked the Titans as well. Dan obviously thinks the Titans suck. I already know who Jeremy picked.
So Dan is going with Cincinnati?
I believe he said Titans suck, I would think. What about the second game? NFC, San Francisco at Green Bay.
I'm going Green Bay.
You went Cincinnati on the other game? Correct?
I went Cincinnati, yeah.
All right. Just so I got to make sure I mark this right as we didn't agree.
Yeah.
Titans winning it all. Jeremy's got him going all the way. Who do you got for San Fran at Green Bay?
I got Green Bay.
I agree, Green Bay. Dan has San Francisco. Dan is going San Francisco.
That's not – I was thinking about it.
It's going to be a tough game. It's a tough game.
They're all tough games. They're all tough games.
Sunday, Los Angeles Rams at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, my heart wants to say Tampa Bay. I'm really worried about that offensive line.
Yeah, me too. I'm going Rams.
I'm going Rams.
I'm going Rams. Tom Brady's run ends this week.
And it fits because I predicted the Rams would win the Super Bowl, at the beginning of the season. So
Jeremy has picked the Rams as well. So far, we're doing all right. Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Dan picked TB12. I'm going Buffalo.
Woof! All right, Buffalo.
Oh my God! All these visiting teams. Oh my God!
Tough. I am going Kansas City Chiefs. I think they do just enough to hold on.
I'm gonna have a rough week. There's no way 3 road teams are winning.
3 road teams. Wow. Jeremy's got the Bills.
All right, Jeremy. Me and you, ride or die.
And Dan's got the Bills.
Yeah, Dan. All right.
All right. So we got some fun. We're gonna have this chart's gonna be updated. It's gonna look pretty good. Let's look at NBA action. The 21st. So tonight, Chicago Bulls at the Milwaukee Bucks.
Ooh, this is gonna be a good game.
Bulls have some injuries, though. Bulls have some injuries right now.
What's the injuries?
I think LaMelo Ball's out for sure. And Zach LaVine, I'm pretty sure, is out as well.
So I'm going to go Milwaukee.
And that's right, I did after the injuries. Dan's going Milwaukee. So Dan agrees with us. All right, I like it. Utah Jazz on the 23rd are facing the Golden State Warriors. They're at Golden State.
Oh, my God. Last week I just told you I would never pick Golden State again.
Yeah, because they've let you down now several
They've
weeks.
let me down twice. But I can't. They're going to be home. I'm picking Golden State.
I'm going to go Golden State as well. I think they need to snap out of it. GA. I'm going to assume that's Golden State. So Dan's going Golden State as well. NHL action on the 24th. The Los Angeles Kings are at the New York Rangers.
Okay, so with the New York Rangers, they beat up on everybody else in the league except for the teams that are elite. So I know LA has a winning record, but they are not elite, and I am going the New York Rangers at home.
I'm going Rangers as well. Dan's going Rangers. Let's look at the Las Vegas Golden Knights on the 25th are going to Carolina and playing the Hurricanes.
Yeah, I'm not betting against the Carolina Hurricanes now.
They look so good.
They're good. They're good.
I agree with you. So we have 2 games of difference, and that's going to be the Chiefs and the Titans. So both AFC games, depending on how they finish, could make a difference for next week. You did win last week 2-0, and for the record, you went 6-0 with all the NFL predictions last week. So great job.
I did.
Dan is going with the Vegas Knights. So that's awesome. All right. So as we normally do, how we finish each show, we do our final thought, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about anything sports related. It can be about anything going on in the world today. Ron, you are up first, my friend. So your final thought.
My final thought has nothing to do with sports. It has to do with the passing of Louis Anderson and Meatloaf.
Yes.
Look, I grew up, back in the days of the 70s and 80s, and Meatloaf was a big part of that.
Yeah.
Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, one of the best songs ever made. Easily, I don't know, I'm putting a number on it, maybe top 15 songs of all time. That hurts from my childhood, and I know when we did our year-ending show and we read off all those names, and a lot of them hit home, and it was very emotional. And losing Meatloaf and losing Louis Anderson, who is an absolute hilarious man.
He was. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it hits. It hits. So I want to wish condolences to their families, and hopefully that they get through this difficult time. Um, it's just never easy to lose, icons of any nature
Yeah.
that we seem to be losing a lot of lately.
Yeah. Unreal. Great points. And you know what, Ron? I would do a lot for you, but I wouldn't do that. I'm just going to tell you. I have
Oh,
to
Jesus.
Yes, there it was. That
I
was
would
that.
do anything for love, but I
So
won't do that.
there it is, baby. And now you've probably just lost us some fans with that singing.
No, that just
Titans
brought
can't
us
find
some.
Jeremy and Dan are going back and forth on it. Jeremy's got the Titans versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. Titans can't find LA is what Dan came back with. Those two, I love you guys have been great tonight.
Yeah.
So my final thought is actually another passing, and that's Louisa Harris. And people may ask, who is Louisa Harris? She was a pioneer. She was the only woman officially drafted by an NBA team. In 1977, she was drafted by the New Orleans Jazz in the 7th round and has been the only female that has ever been drafted by an NBA team, male team.
Yeah.
So, again, a story that wasn't really discussed, but she was 66, a pioneer if you think about what she's meant for the sport of basketball. She's been elected to the NBA Hall of Fame and the Women's Hall of Fame for basketball. So she's done so much for the sport. A story that honestly I didn't even know there was a woman ever drafted by the NBA, and it's sad that you find that out once she's passed. So the NBA really needs to do a better job of honestly telling this story because it's something that's never been seen before or seen again.
Right.
So I just wanted to say to her family as well, condolences from the Sports Unfolded family, and what a great honor to be the only woman to ever be officially drafted by an NBA team. So I thought that was.
With that being said, I feel like I need to also mention Willie O'Ree.
Willie O'Ree, yes, from
his
Boston.
number was retired by the Boston Bruins.
Yes, 86. He's 86 now. Yes,
he was the first African American to play in the NHL.
Yeah,
and he to this day is still working in inner cities all across the country and in Canada, for the NHL to promote the game to inner city kids. And the man is an absolute legend in the the NHL. Like everybody that meets him loves him, and it just speaks volumes to where we're starting to develop as a sports nation.
Yeah, no,
it's getting better.
Yeah, they're starting to realize some of their errors of the past and finally making up for them. So, no, great job, the Boston Bruins. I thought that was an excellent tribute that they did displayed, and he was thrilled with it. And again, so another story that you just
Eric. He loves the game,
and it's amazing that again we haven't heard about these stories, and now they're finally coming out, which is great to see. Maybe we can change. Maybe we can all change, and that's the hope. Eventually, that the world gets to be a better place again. So I want to thank everybody that's joined us live today. Faceless, Sarah, Dan, Jeremy, you guys have been amazing tonight. Thank you so much for joining Sports Unfolded. For those fans that are going to watch afterwards, follow us, like us, subscribe to Rhode Island Broadcasting, to Sports Unfolded. We are doing amazing things, and we will continue to grow. We're excited. We got a lot of updates for this prediction chart this week, so tune in next week. Jeremy, Dan, make sure you guys see where you stand versus me and Ron. Ron, it's been a pleasure today. I'm glad I'm glad episode 3 in the books for season 2. Next week, stay tuned on a Monday. We will do our charts for our rankings on NHL and NBA. I know Kenny is working on that as we speak. And Ron, obviously, all your hockey knowledge and what you bring to the table. And these playoffs and NFL playoffs this weekend to get a chance to go to the AFC and NFC championship. We'll see if one of these gentlemen will be a little upset after the outcomes. But
and enjoy the games. Just enjoy it.
It should be fun. Should be fun. Ron, you have a great night. Fans out there, take care. Peace.
Have a good night, everyone.